You want to know the secret? The real reason she left was because she thought you wouldn't change. But the moment you change, not for her, but for yourself, she's gonna feel it. Even if she's with someone else. Especially if she's with someone else. Listen, most men panic when she walks away. You beg, you cry. You try to prove your worth. But that ain't how you get her back. That's how you lose your soul trying to keep someone who already made the choice to leave. You want her to come back? Then stop trying to get her back. Because here's the truth. A woman doesn't come back to the man who chased her after she walked away. She comes back to the man who changed. The man who became unreachable. The man who made her wonder, did I just lose the best thing I ever had? Let me tell you something. Silence is louder than desperation. When you go silent, when you pull your energy back, when you rise, level up, and become the man she didn't believe you could become, her soul feels the shift. That other guy, he ain't you. She might smile in his arms, but she remembers how she felt in yours. She might laugh in his presence, but she remembers the fire in your silence. Become a man who doesn't chase, but attracts. A man so focused, so locked in on his mission, that the loss of her becomes the birth of a better you. You want her to regret leaving, then become the version of yourself that she could never forget. Not by texting, not by calling, but by disappearing into the grind. Emerging as a man she can't reach anymore. And here's the part that'll shake her soul. You won't even want her back by the time she realizes what she lost. Because healing changes your taste. Success changes your standards. And growth, well, that changes everything. So stay to the end of this message. Because I'm going to break down exactly how to step into this transformation. How to silence the noise, rebuild your spirit, and let her watch from a distance. As you become the man, she will beg to come back. Even if she's in someone else's arms. Because deep down, she'll know she settled. When a man learns the art of emotional detachment, he unlocks a level of power most people never reach. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You stop making someone else's presence the center of your peace. You stop begging, proving, explaining, and trying to convince someone who already chose to walk away. See, when you detach, you stop reacting. And when you stop reacting, you stop bleeding in front of someone who never intended to heal you. That's when your true strength begins to show. Most people think strength is about muscle, money, or dominance. No. Real strength is quiet. It's silent restraint. It's your ability to walk away from what no longer values you and still remain whole. When she sees that you no longer reach out, no longer check her stories, no longer like her posts, no longer show signs of emotional dependence, she starts wondering, why did he go silent? Why isn't he trying anymore? Because that silence, that emotional distance, it speaks, and it's deafening, especially to someone who expected you to chase. You've got to understand, when a woman walks away, most men fold. They chase. They beg. They promise change. But that's emotional slavery. And women don't respect slaves. They respect warriors. They respect men who know their value, even when they're hurting. Because pain is never a license to lose your self-worth. Emotional detachment gives you control. Not over her, but over yourself. You control your responses, your time, your energy, your focus. When you pull back that energy and reinvest it in yourself, your goals, your fitness, your grind, your vision, you begin to glow differently. You stop giving her the satisfaction of seeing you fall apart. You stop giving her the reaction that feeds her ego. And the moment she realizes you've detached, That she no longer has access to your heart, your mind, your presence. That's the moment curiosity creeps in. Regret follows. And soon enough, she's watching you from afar, wondering if she made the wrong choice. Not because you said a word, but because you didn't. Detachment is power, because it forces people to sit with the consequences of their decisions. And in a world where everyone is screaming for attention, silence is rare. Silence is golden. And a man who can detach with dignity and disappear with purpose is a man that no woman easily forgets. Becoming the man she can't ignore isn't about proving anything to her. It's about evolving so far beyond the version of yourself she walked away from that you become unforgettable. When a woman leaves, especially for someone else, she often believes you've hit your peak. She assumes she's seen all you have to offer. Emotionally, mentally, physically, even spiritually. But what happens when you stop trying to explain yourself and start reinventing yourself? You stop chasing closure and start chasing greatness. That's when the shift happens. That's when she starts to see you, not as the man she left, but as the man she never really knew, the man she underestimated. It begins with discipline. You hit the gym, not for revenge, but for transformation. You improve your finances, not to flaunt, but to elevate. You cut off distractions. You protect your energy. You work on your emotional intelligence. You get sharper, wiser, and more focused. Your body tightens. Your voice deepens. Your silence becomes louder. Suddenly, you're walking with purpose. You're dressing better, speaking with clarity, and moving like a man with vision. And guess what? She sees it. Women notice. Maybe she doesn't reach out immediately, but she watches. Quietly. Consistently. Because women always watch the man who leveled up after they left. And the reason she can't ignore you anymore. You're no longer trying to be seen. You're no longer performing. You're too focused on becoming. That's the most attractive energy a man can carry. Non-neediness. You're no longer orbiting around her. You're building your own world. And trust me, the man who builds his own world becomes the man she regrets leaving. Not because he begged her to come back, but because he became a king without her. And now she's stuck watching you from a distance. Watching other women admire what she once had. You become a magnet. Not because you wanted her to see you, but because you finally saw yourself. And don't make the mistake of thinking this is about revenge. It's not. It's about rising. It's about unlocking your true self. Because when you become the man she can't ignore, you'll also realize something deeper. You might not even want her back anymore. Because the version of you she knew was a draft. And the man you've become, he's a whole new story. Confidence doesn't announce itself. It shows up. It walks in the room before you speak. It's in your posture, your tone, your eyes. When you have real confidence, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You know it. And that kind of energy, it lingers. It's unforgettable, especially to a woman who once had access to you. When you stop over-explaining, stop trying to prove your intentions, stop checking up on her, when you simply walk in truth, power, and peace, that's when she starts to notice. Because confidence is the one thing that can't be faked for long. And when it's real, it's impossible to ignore. A confident man isn't loud. He's calm. He doesn't argue for validation. He doesn't ask, "Why did you leave?" He already knows it wasn't his loss. It was hers. He doesn't scroll through her page, watching her life unfold. He's too busy building his own. And that confidence, that inner knowing, becomes louder than any text message, louder than any apology, louder than any, "I miss you," she might be expecting. Because instead of chasing, you're choosing. You're choosing yourself. You're choosing peace. And when a man chooses peace over chaos, discipline over distraction, value over validation, he becomes magnetic. You see, women are emotional creatures. They remember how you made them feel. And when you show up confident, unbothered, and refined, it stirs something deep in her. Even if she's with someone else, she begins to compare. That other guy might give her attention, but he can't recreate your presence. He might say the right things, but he can't duplicate your energy. Confidence is what stays behind even after you leave. It's the echo of your worth. It's the unshakable spirit that makes her wonder if she walked away from a man or a moment. And here's what breaks her: when she realizes you're no longer accessible. Not because you're angry, but because you've evolved. You no longer chasey because you've realized that real love doesn't require convincing. Real value doesn't chase attention. Confidence says, I was enough before you left, and I'm even more without you now. That kind of self-assurance can't be taught. It's earned, built through silence, through solitude, through choosing growth over grief. And once you stand in that power, she won't just remember you, she'll feel you. Every time she sees someone that reminds her of you, every time she hears your name, every time she wonders, does he still think about me? And the truth is, by then, you won't be wondering about her at all. When you start choosing purpose over pursuit, everything changes. You stop chasing things and people that were never meant to stay, and you start building a life that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. That's when your energy shifts. That's when you become dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a focused way. Because now, you're not running after a woman. You're running after destiny. You're locked in. You're waking up with goals. You're sleeping with vision. You're no longer driven by who's texting you back. You're driven by what legacy you're leaving behind. See, the average man chases women. He wastes his time in confusion, mixed signals, and meaningless conversations trying to win her back. But a man with purpose doesn't chase. He aligns. He attracts. And if she doesn't see the value in the mission he's on, then she was never meant to be part of the journey. Purpose gives you clarity. It makes you unattracted to drama. It makes you uninterested in begging. It shifts your standard from who will love me to who is equipped to walk with me at this level. And that shift, that's what makes her stop and think. Because now, she's not the center of your world. Your purpose is. Women can feel that. The moment your energy turns inward, when you stop investing it all into her and start investing it in your calling, she feels the distance. And while she may act unbothered, deep down she's watching. Because when a man finds his purpose, everything about him begins to evolve. He talks differently. He walks differently. His silence speaks louder than her texts. His time becomes too valuable to waste. He starts becoming the version of himself she never had the patience to wait for. That's the irony. She left expecting you to break, to chase, to plead. But you didn't. You built. You healed. You got focused. And now, while she's entertaining temporary attention from someone else, you're laying the foundation for long-term elevation. And the longer you stay locked in on your purpose, the more her memory of you begins to shift from someone she left behind to someone she can't stop thinking about. And the truth, you didn't do it for her. You did it for you. That's why it's so powerful. Because purpose isn't about impressing someone else. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be, with or without them. There's something powerful about a man who doesn't speak Doesn't explain, doesn't react. He just elevates. No warning. No need for applause. He simply disappears into the process and reemerges as a better version of himself. That's the kind of shift that grabs her attention. Not because you begged her to see it, but because you gave her no choice but to notice. When you level up in silence, it echoes. It reaches places your words never could. And the most beautiful part, you're not doing it out of revenge. You're doing it because you finally realized that you were the project all along. Let her watch you elevate. Let her see you go from confusion to clarity, from pain to purpose, from desperation to discipline. She left thinking she knew who you were. But elevation is the process of becoming someone even you didn't fully recognize yet. And when you start moving differently, working on your mind, your body, your craft, your peace, it creates a ripple in her world. Because while she's out there trying to fill the void with attention, validation, or a rebound, you're filling yours with progress. And progress, that's loud. That's undeniable. It's in the weight you drop, the posture you carry, the income you multiply, the mindset you strengthen. It's in the way you walk into a room like you belong, not to prove anything, but because you've earned the right to be there. You don't have to post about it. You don't have to brag. Just elevate, quietly, consistently. Because every time you grow, it exposes what she lost. Every new level you reach is a reminder to her of the man she doubted, the man she walked away from, the man she underestimated. And trust me, she'll notice. She'll hear about you from others. She'll see the changes in pictures, in updates, in glimpses. She'll remember how she once had a front row seat to your life and how she gave it up. And the hardest part for her, knowing that someone else might be sitting in that seat now, that someone else gets to witness your greatness, that while she was busy looking back, you were building forward. So let her watch. Don't block her. Don't address her. Don't stoop down to her level or throw shade. Just rise, because nothing says, "I've moved on," more than growth, and nothing makes someone regret walking away more than seeing the person they left behind become the one they always prayed for. So hear me when I say this. If you want her to beg to come back, even when she's with someone else, don't chase her, chase purpose. Don't try to convince her. Convince yourself that you were always enough. Because when you detach emotionally, level up without explanation, walk in quiet confidence, and let your growth speak for itself, you become the man she can't ignore, can't replace, and can't forget. But by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too far ahead, too focused, and too evolved to look back. That's the power of becoming the man you were meant to be. Now go do it.